My name is Tammy Inget, and my husband, Jerys Inget. See, I might cry, so I might have to hold on.
So I'm Lexi Park. I am Jerys' oldest daughter. This is my mom, Tammy. My dad passed away with colon cancer.
He was diagnosed May 31st, 2024, was colon cancer. And he died April 24th, 2025, so 11 months.
After the diagnosis.
After the diagnosis. Yeah, he was 54 when he was diagnosed, 55 when he died. We come to Arizona in the winter, and snowbird. January before May, before he was diagnosed, he started having a little bit of issues with his stomach. They thought he maybe had diverticulitis. Well, by the time we left here in April, he wasn't feeling good at all. Very constipated, wasn't feeling good, slowly losing some weight, stomach was bugging him, fatigue. But he went into his doctor and when we got home, and so he said, I really think I need a colonoscopy. Previously, the year before in the summer, he had did the Cologuard. Your Cologuard had showed good last year or whatever. I'm not really sure if that's the deal. While he was working, he was in so much pain and he would have to throw up all the time. Not so much going to the bathroom as throwing up all the time, and it just kept getting worse. And the doctor's our family friend too, and he's like, no, I need to get a colonoscopy. Something's not right here. Nothing's going right like it used to be, or you know your body. So had the colonoscopy. Got the colonoscopy. Sure enough, right away the doctor came out and said, it's cancer, 99.9% sure. She said she couldn't even, with the scope, hardly even get in there. She had to kind of pull back out because she said it wasn't good. Down here where we live, about 15 minutes from where we live, is a City of Hope Cancer Center. Literally 15 minutes. Right away, Jerry said, I'm calling there. I'm not screwing around. So sure enough, he got right on the phone, called down here to City of Hope, and within an hour that afternoon, they called back and they had already, you have this plan, and be here June 19th for your first appointment. And this was, it was confirmed on May 31st, so within 2 weeks. Got down here, he had his first appointment June 19th. He had his surgery on July 22nd, and he did, I have to look out where they had to look back, because I journaled everything as we were going. They did a robotically assisted colectomy, partial. Took the doctor about a little over 3 hours to do it, the surgery, and when he came out, he said, your husband's very stoic. And I said, oh, yeah, I know. And he said, well, the tumor was the size of a melon. And he said it was awful. He said it's the biggest one he's ever seen. And he, works at a cancer hospital. But he was happy with what he'd gotten. When we came back to meet then, whatever it was, a couple weeks later, to meet with his oncologist, then she had informed us that he had stage 3B colon cancer, and that the pathology had confirmed that they took 26 lymph nodes, and out of the 26, 25 were the extremely aggressive kind. So they knew it was bad. Within 10 to 11 days, he went from a 3B to a 4. They figured that when he robotically did it, probably spread more. And then he had the chemo. He would sit for about 5 hours in the chair. Then he would go home with a bag hooked up to him for chemo for the next 46 hours. And then we'd go back and then they'd have it taken off. So anyway, we did this continuously as the months went on. Obviously, all his symptoms it kind of got a little bit better, but his weight kept dropping. His neuropathy was so bad that he said it felt like you were just scraping knives together on the tip. The one kind that he was taking made anything cold. I mean, just...
Intensified.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
intensified.
He would try to eat an apple with gloves on, because he felt like the apple sitting out felt like it was freezing cold. He was, beyond stoic. Because I would get so flippin' mad at him in the house. He would constantly, his work is his number one thing. And so farmers would call, the egg guys would call constantly. And he would I always say, doing real good. And I'd be sitting there going, you gotta be kidding me. He would tell every single one, things couldn't be better. I'm doing really good. And I would just be like, oh my
you're
God.
not.
So these guys are like thinking, like, oh, he must be doing pretty good, giving him this false hope. So a few of them that I knew personally, some of them even had messaged me. And I messaged a few, and I'm like, you guys, it's complete BS. They didn't scan him until December again, and in December they said his scan showed pretty good. Finally, come March, we went into the ER. He was just awful there, and they figured he was maybe having a bowel obstruction then possibly. So they were kind of treating him for that, but yet they didn't want to open him up. They were trying to do anything they could do to not open him up. So then the NG tube that they placed would kind of help him. He would get some relief because some of that stuff would come out then. But the minute they released us from the hospital, we'd get home and it wouldn't be but too long. And I suppose it was all backing up again. And so we'd go back down. And then they do the NG tube again and put him in the hospital, do all the stuff. Well, then he ended up pickling an arm, port in the chest, took the stuff off his stomach, and then they ended up that they had to do the peg or into his stomach. We came home, and then home health came, and they taught me how to feed him for the 14 hours a day on the IV and 4 hours of fluid. And we continued to do that for a short time, but he just kept getting sicker and sicker. We finally went back into the hospital, and then they just said they just think that the cancer was so much in the lining of his stomach that his stomach had completely shut down. They just said it wasn't working, period, and wouldn't work again. If he was to live, that is how he would live the rest of his life, because according to them, you can't come back. The peg tube would never come out because if your stomach shut down completely and the cancer was all in the lining of his stomach, it was never going to be. So that would be him never eating again. He would laugh. He would take a drink of water and he'd just watch it go right into the bag. There was nothing they could do, and he was just getting sicker and frailer. And at this point now, he'd went from about 70, 80 pounds to 160, all within 10, 11 months. Now, at this point, we were in the hospital for 5-6 weeks, basically straight. And so after we talked a lot and stuff with the doctors and had hard talks, the best thing was to put him on hospice. And that's what Jerys wanted too, because he didn't want to live like that anymore. Nor did I want to see him live like that.